Good morning, and lovely to see you at the start of 2022. So today the practice, we're still not that far into the year. It's really a practice to connect to ourselves. I was saying to the studio classes last week that in itself, it really is, and I don't say this lightly, it's an achievement to actually be here on a yoga mat on a Monday morning, or whenever it is that you're on that yoga mat, and, well, giving yourself time to have a practice. In itself, it's a really brilliant gift that we're giving ourselves, really. It's time to be with ourselves. Um, and I suppose in a way, that's the greatest gift that you can give yourself, is that space to reconnect, to bring the mind home. And then it kind of follows that when one does that and gives oneself that little moment within the day, that is really to look inwards, to be with yourself, to bring well-being into the body. Well, hopefully the rest of life, whatever it's throwing at you, just flows a little bit more smoothly. Those moments when you can feel stress rising. I've had Sasha and Anushka, Sasha taking Anushka to Petrock today, and invariably there's always that 5 minutes, well, they're 5 minutes too late basically, so there's stress in the house. But for the first time, I didn't actually start kind of joining in the stress, which was a nice feeling. But you know, those little points in time, hopefully this time that you give yourself now just gives you that little sense of more perspective, to be able to shed a little bit more light, calmness, patience, joy, really onto whatever life is throwing at you off the mat. So we're coming into sitting to start with. And before we shut eyes, just take a moment. Imagine your vertebrae, each one stacked above the other. There's a little bit of space between each one. So now, as if you were lifting up that stack along the spine, draw up into the crown of the head. So it's a light touch of the sit bones of your pelvis with the floor. And hands can rest on the lap. You might want to use a mudra, index finger to thumb. There we are, got the angle there. Palms resting up or else down. Find that lift again. And then allow your eyes to shut. So the starting point is creating space. Giving yourself space within the body to be present. And allowing our breath to flow freely within the physical space of the body. And with a light touch of attention, our mind to follow the breath. Anchoring our attention inside the body, deep down within the belly. And as you feel the rise and the fall of breath within you, setting the intention, being present to yourself, however you find yourself in this breath, in this morning. and setting your intention to bring will into the body. Giving yourself your fullest and kindest attention that you can. And we bring our hands together into prayer at the heart to plant and seal this intention within us, bowing the head down towards the hands. And lifting up the head, the eyes opening again. And we're in sitting. And if I shuffle back a little bit, we'll bring the soles of the feet together. So you're coming into a butterfly, a nice diamond shape of your butterfly. So rather than bringing the soles all the way in, a little bit of space between the heels and the pelvis. Now hands can rest wherever you feel comfortable here. It might be on the floor, on the feet, just on the shins, wherever you'd feel to. And just make sure wherever the hands are that you can lift up into your spine. So you've still got that sense of the vertebrae stacking. And then all we're going to do is start to move the spine. So if we're swiveling it at the base in little circles. Now it's very easy for attention to get caught up in the shoulders here. If you can, take your attention down to that joining point of the spine with the pelvis. And that's the bit you want to find the movement in. And letting the upper spine follow that movement down at the base of the body. And you're bringing your breath into this equation. Seeing how the body wants to breathe. And allowing the body to follow it. I don't know about you, but I know for myself, this tends to stir up quite a lot of, how to say, well, just quite a lot of stuck energy deep down in the pelvis, in tight hips, tight lower spine. So go easy into that and use your breath a bit like you were massaging those areas. Letting yourself flow through the movement, flow through any sensation, rising up. And we'll take those circles now the opposite way. And a couple more. And arriving back into sitting, and we'll take the knees now to the center line, stretching out the legs out in front of you, toes pointing up to the ceiling, hands by the sides of the hips, fingers forward. And I'm going to come up onto the fingertips here. You can press the hands down though, if that's more comfortable. In breath, toes away from you. Out breath, toes coming back towards you. Keeping the spine lifted as you move between the two. In breath, toes away. And out breath, riding back towards you. A couple more rounds. And a long, deep breath as you move all the way down into the body. Don't scrimp on the breath. Really let yourself luxuriate in the breath here. Taking the legs now, hips width apart, toes coming together, and we'll draw a few circles through the ankles now. And even though you're localizing the movement down in the feet and the ankles, still see if you can keep that lift, the light lift up through the spine. Make sure you're not holding up the shoulders at all, letting them soften down. And we'll take those circles the opposite way. Keep the lightness through the body. And we'll take the feet together. A big in-breath, reach forward and up above the head, and the gaze will follow, chin up towards ceiling. Breathe in and lift, breathe out, let your shoulders soften. Another in-breath, lifting. An out-breath, looking forward and allowing the spine to float down. And the arms will follow. And they come down towards the floor, either sides of the feet. There, you can flex your feet up a little bit towards the ceiling. In-breath, lifting up through the spine. And out-breath, we tuck the chin into the throat, coming into a forward fold. Now, after a breath or so there in your forward fold, again on the in-breath, we'll take the chin forward. Keep the shoulders soft as you arrive, looking forward. And out-breath, again we fold inwards, chin to throat. In-breath, sliding the hands up, and the knees will bend. And bending the knees up towards the chest, we'll start hugging them in as closely as you can. You may want to come up onto the tips of the toes here, and you may feel comfortable to lift the feet up, heels off the ground. A few breaths here. And as you do so, wherever the feet are, we'll just rock a little bit from side to side. And then, very little circles. You may topple over a little bit here. Well, we're just going to take a few very small circles on the base of the spine. Just feeling that sensation of being in balance. Maybe a rather precarious balance if you go right out to the parameters of that circle. A few rounds of breath the opposite way. And when you've done both sides, then tip your feet down and take your knees out to the sides of the body. Now hands over the tops of the feet here. We're coming into a more traditional butterfly here. The heels quite close into the pelvis. In-breath, lifting up through the spine. Remember that stacking motion up through the vertebrae. Soft shoulders, let them wobble a little bit. And another in-breath. And out-breath, chin into the throat. Letting the body settle. And we'll take one more full round of breath here. Keep letting the flow of sensation travel through you. And in-breath, looking up. Knees coming back up again to the center line. And we arrive on the mat on all fours. So starting on all fours, neutral spine. So if the spine's slightly curving up, just give yourself a moment to lengthen it out, to draw the belly up to support the base of the spine. Feet hips width apart, hands underneath the shoulders. And 3 breaths to arrive here. Resetting that intention of goodwill towards the body, towards the mind, piecing the two together. Letting weight travel down the arms into the hands. And then arriving in cat and cow, tucking under the sit bones, your spine curving up, and tilting your pelvis up, spine lengthening, breathing in. So moving from the base of the spine, from your sit bones, that tucking under motion, tilting up motion to allow the spine to start to move between the two. And after a few moments, starting to deepen the movement, starting to energize your breath. So really waking up the spine now, breathing out, curving up, breathing in, moving through. Next round, an out breath to come back to the heels, stretching out the arms in front of you. Once you've arrived there, we'll come up onto the fingertips, so you're making a little tent-like shape. We'll take the arms and elbows out to the sides a little bit. Palms planting themselves flat again. And looking forward, we come through and into cobra. So deep in breath, peeling up the spine. Breathing in and breathing out, folding back down. Another in breath, lift of hands up off the mat, just underneath the shoulders. Plant them down. In breath, into cobra. An out breath, back to all fours, from all fours, toes tucking under. And we arrive in our first down dog of 2022 in an online class. And putting a bit of bend through the knees. Now, a little bit of bouncing in your down dog on the balls of the feet here. And as you do, imagine there's a cord or a rope or something about maybe around the tops of the thighs, and someone's standing behind you, pulling that belt up and back. Almost like you're drawing your thighs up and back. As the thighs move up and back, you'll notice it then gives the spine a little bit more space to stretch out in. Another couple of breaths, keep the bounce. Belly to spine, looking forward. And we'll then walk the feet up towards the hands, and you're arriving into a forward fold. And we'll slide the hands up to the knees, the backs of the knees, and slide them down the backs of the legs. Now, how much can you lift up through the backs of the legs and tip the spine forward into your forward fold? Another couple of breaths. And releasing your arms out in front of you, And starting to roll up your spine. Let the spine go heavy, the head go heavy. The weight of the body rooting down into the legs, the feet. As you arrive up into standing, into Tadasana. And your palms facing forwards by the sides of the body. The chin level. Just tucking it in ever so slightly, so you feel a lengthening up and out through the crown of the head. Lightly draw the belly in. Let the weight of the body relax down to feet. Letting the body breathe. Breathe as freely as it wants to. And using this space here in Tadasana to allow the body to align itself. So rather than you feeling you've got to make little adjustments, just noting those little ebbs and flows of balance as you settle the weight firmly into both feet. Breath moving deep inside the body. And the feet holding you steady, secure and rooted to the ground. And we'll open eyes again. And with your eyes open, start to lift your chest up towards the ceiling. Letting the breath deepen, swell up inside you. And with the chest lifting, chin lifting, with the in-breath, the arms will follow, rising up above the head. And out breath, turning your palms away from the body, away from you, out to either side, stretching the fingers out. And breathing out, letting the palms float back down. Another in-breath, the chest will lift up, the chin will follow, and the arms will follow. And breathing out, palms away from you, fingers stretched out, letting them float back down. Now the same again, from chin to chest to arms, breathing in and lifting. And out breath, arms coming down your center line, start to hinge through the waist, a bit of bend through the knees, to soften the descent down into a forward fold. And arriving there, the arms can hang in front of the body. And in your next breath, we'll catch hold of the elbow points. And using gravity to let the elbow points hang down towards the mat. One more round of breath. And then putting a bit of bend into your knees, and we'll take the arms out behind you and we're looking forward. Now see if you can tuck your sit bones under here. As you look forward, draw the arms back, the shoulders back, belly to spine, soft gaze, in-breath, arms floating up, and we're up into chair. Once you're in chair, your chin can lift, the chest can lift again. Following the upward lift, of the arms. And then out breath. The backs of the legs straightening and the arms will swallow dive down and you're arriving back into forward fold again. And move your head a little bit from one side to the other. Just softening out, ironing out the neck. Hands coming to the sides of the feet or else on the shins. And in breath, we're off of the spine forward, breathing in. Keep that lift up through the chest. Palms coming down either to the sides of the feet or just in front of the feet. And out breath, we'll step both feet back and into down dog. Again, a bit of bend through the knees to draw the spine backwards as the thighs lift up and back. Now your next in-breath, take your time to slowly take your knees forward and down to the floor. And with your out-breath, slowly hinge back and into child, arms coming out in front of you. And then move through wood cobra on the in-breath, taking time to arrive to the belly, both feet stretched out behind you, breathing in, peeling the spine off the floor. Chest lifting, chin lifting. Out breath, again hinge back to all fours and then lift up through the balls of the feet back into down dog. Now, as you are doing in Tadasana, see if you can anchor the weight of the body equally into both feet. So you get that lovely sense of alignment, symmetry through the body. Little circle through the armpits, back to the heart. Then looking forward, breathing in. And on the out breath, the feet will start to make their way up to the top of the mat, hips width apart, and folding. Letting go of the weight of the arms and starting to roll the spine up. You'll then lift up through the arms as the chest rises, breathing in. And out breath, both palms arriving back to the heart. In breath, anchor your weight down into your left leg and come up onto the balls of the toes of the right foot. Hands at the heart. And then you can either carry on just finding the balance point with the balls of the toes connected to the floor, maybe the ball of the foot or else the balls of the toes. Else you may want to lift up that right knee and draw it up towards the chest. Belly to spine. And out breath. We'll plant the balls of the toes back down, we've lifted, and then the heel for everyone. Coming on to the other side, arriving on the balls of the left foot, anchor down into the right foot. And then a few breaths there, or else lifting the left knee up, belly to spine, wherever you are, soft breath. And starting to let the left knee come back down again and anchoring the foot down to the floor. Hands coming to the hips and start to do a few circles now through your pelvis. Working through both legs, lifting up. few circles the opposite way. And arriving back into Tadasana, hands relaxing down by the sides of the body. Feel the space between each of your vertebrae. Bringing attention to the breath and its flow within the body. In breath, chin rising, chest rising. And then on the next in-breath, the eyes will open and the palms will float up. Breathing out, start to come however you want to into a forward fold. Bend the knees, let go of the weight of the spine as it folds forward. And we're coming to a twist now, standing twist here. You can take the left hand in front of the left foot, or else you can cross the left hand over to the right foot. Right arm will float up, your palms facing forward here. And you may look up and just catch hold of the side of that right hand in your peripheral vision, whilst you can look out to the side. Right hand coming down, either in front of the right foot or else over to the left foot. Left arm floating up. Gazing either to the side or up towards the hand. Left hand coming down. Hands either by the sides of the feet or else just in front, but offer the spine forward, breathing in, gaze soft. An out breath, this time either coming back into down dog or else you may want to step back and into plank. Now wherever you are here, belly to spine, and really root back into your heels, drawing the weight of the body back towards heels. Weight coming down into the hands. Gazing forward. And we're all meeting down dog, bending the knees if you're in plank to ease back. And the next out breath we'll take through the mouth. Now in breath, either down onto all fours or else coming forwards into your plank again and lowering down onto the mat. In breath into cobra, gazing up. And out breath, arriving up and back, down dog. With the bend through the knees, with the bend through, little bend through both knees, we'll then accentuate that, bending the right knee, rooting back into the left leg. Same the opposite side. Bending both knees. And with that bend through both knees, we'll then continue the bend into the right knee and we'll lift the leg off the floor, the knee is bent here. So you want to almost feel like your heel is coming towards your bottom. Now reach that bend up, reach the leg up, anchor down into the left foot and then straighten out the right leg. Looking forward, we'll swing the right foot through between the hands and we're up into a high lunge, a runner's lunge, hands both sides of the front foot. Now, There's a bit of bend through that back knee. See if you can straighten it out and really anchor the weight of the body back into that back heel. Left hand down on the floor, right arm will float up. And again, you can look to the side, or else you can take the gaze up towards the ceiling. One more full round of breath. And the right hand coming down. We'll drop the back knee now down to the floor. Now make sure that back knee is not vertically down. You do want it on a bit of an angle, so you may want to lift it, slide it back. Coming into the twist, the opposite side now. Right hand remains on the floor, left hand lifting. One more round of breath. And the left hand coming down to the floor. Lifting up the back leg, we're going to arrive into a forward fold down the back leg, and maybe a bit of bend through the knee. But we're looking to draw the weight of the pelvis back and anchor down the back leg. Now you may want to come up onto your fingertips here, off of the spine forward, breathe in, and out breath, folding. Next round of breath, hands coming down to the mat, and we're going to step that right leg up and back and lower it back down to the mat. Bending knees, we come into a little vinyasa here, so you can either take the knees down to all fours, else coming into plank. From all fours, you'll come back to child, or else lowering down to the floor. We're all arriving cobra on the in-breath and out-breath. We're back into our down dog. Now bending the left knee and taking that bend up as you lift it above off the floor. Do keep the bend as tight as you can. So you want to feel the left heel is going to touch the bottom. Lift the knee as high as you can. Once you've done that, bend, straighten up into the left leg. Next round of breath, and the left foot will swing through between the hands. And we're back into the high runner's lunge here. So strong right leg, keep the bounce through the ball of the foot. Right hand's remaining down on the floor, left hand lifting. Taking the left hand down, dropping the right knee down to the floor. Again, check that you've got a bit of diagonal through that right knee. You don't want the weight coming straight down into the knee. This time the right arm will lift. Right hand coming down, coming back into the forward fold down the front leg again. Right foot tucks under, lifting up through the left leg. Take the pelvis back, anchor down into that right leg. You can come up to the fingertips, reach forward through the spine, and folding. Both hands coming down to the mat, And we'll step the left foot back now, joining the right. In breath, slowly bringing both knees down onto all fours. And out breath, arriving back on the heels, arms stretched out in front of you. And in breath, we'll slide the fingers up. We're coming into kneeling here. Take any other seated position you'd like. Taking the left hand over to the right knee. We'll take a big circle up and over with the right arm. And you're arriving into twist. Imagine you're squeezing both shoulder blades together. So it's a kind of like feeling of that through the scapula, opening the wings of the scapula, either sides. Can you still feel that sense of the vertebrae stacking one above the other here? Really squeeze out the spine. Lovely. Right hand, we're milling over to the left knee. And the left arm will wimble up and over. You intertwist the other side. Again, feel that lift up through the spine, squeezing together both sides of the scapula. And left arm coming over to the right knee. Breathe in, bit of bend through both elbows. Breathing out, arrive into child. Hands can just come down to the floor. They want to take them to either sides of the body. And the forehead resting lightly on the floor. Sliding your arms out in front of you. And we'll follow that slide until the pelvis is lifted off the floor. It's going to be more or less directly above the knees here. So your spine is hanging down between the shoulders. Now find your way forward into Cobra. Breathe in, arriving, and out breath, toes tucked under, lifting up and back into down dog. Anchor down into your left foot. Bend the right knee up again. Keep that bend all the way up as the knee lifts. And then we're open out into the right hip, the gaze coming underneath the right armpit. Straightening out the right leg. And right foot coming down to the floor. Onto the other side, bend the left knee. Keep that bend as you lift up the left knee. Anchor down into the right heel. Keep the bend through the right left knee, all the way up, and then into the hip opener. And last off, stretching out the left leg. And left foot coming back down. In breath, look forward. Taking the knees, really take the deep bend through the knees here. Give your spine space to stretch out. And in breath, we again come down onto all fours, taking time to arrive. And we'll lift up onto the knees. So walking hands back in, hands back up on the hips. Rooting your hands down to the hips, we'll slide them now to the small of the back, fingers facing down. And we'll squeeze the shoulder blades back together. Take the chin up, the gaze up, the mouth can open. Arriving back in a neutral position, slide the hands down onto all fours. Breathing in, we'll lengthen out through the spine. Out breath, curving the spine. And then we're going to come back and into high kneeling. So sliding the hands up and back. Hands again sliding down the small of the back. Gaze lifting up. If you feel comfortable here, you may want to tuck under toes or keep the feet flat and arrive back into camel. Make sure your knees are hips width apart. Else you may be happy just holding the spine another couple of breaths. Keep supporting yourself. One more round. And we'll slide up and forward, hands coming down to the mat. Now slightly different this time. In breath, we curve the spine up towards the ceiling. Out breath, we'll let the breath out through the mouth. Tongue can come out as well if you want. Do that a few times. Another couple. And we're coming into our final back bend. To decide how you want to do this time, you may want to come back to the first version. You may want to slide the hands down the legs a little bit more, toes tucked under into a camel, or the toes flat. And we'll take 5 rounds of breath there. And together we'll take a full final round. Sliding up and back down. We're riding on all fours. The in-breath, spine will curve up. Out-breath through the mouth again. And a final one. Threading the needle, left arm under right, arriving down on the left temple, up onto the right fingertips. Keep both sides of the pelvis rooting back. In breath, final breath, Also, the right arm can lift. Right arm comes forward, down to the mat, right back onto all fours. And we come to the other side, right arm underneath the left. Final rounds of breath, left arm lifts up. And left arm coming down, right arm joining the left. And we'll just come into a couple of rounds of breath, normal cat and cow. We're just moving your pelvis from side to side, figure of eights, forwards, backwards, just easing out into your spine. And we'll arrive down, sitting out with legs out in front of us. A deep in-breath, the arms will float up, chest will lift, chin up towards ceiling. And out-breath, reaching forward towards the feet, legs, hands arriving wherever you feel to let them arrive. Breathing in, we'll lift up into the spine. And out-breath, tucking the chin into the throat. And arriving in forward fold. In breath, slide your hands back up. And taking the legs now into a V shape. We'll slide the right hand down towards the right foot, reaching towards the inner edge of the right foot. In breath, left arm will float up. Left arm, sliding down the left leg now towards the inner edge of the left foot. And the right arm will float up. Sliding the left hand up the leg, the right arm will come down onto the right leg. Bit of bend through the elbows, belly to spine. Now feel that sense of again the vertebrae stacking one up above the other. Breathe in. And out breath, the hands can slide down the legs towards the feet. And in breath, we look forward, soft gaze. Out breath, chin into throat again. And in breath, we slide the hands up and we're arriving back into sitting. So knees together now, arriving down on the spine, and we'll hug the knees into the chest here. And you may just want to massage the lower spine out, rocking from side to side or into circles. Now either the knees together or else we cross the left knee over the right. Nice tight cross if you're doing that. Arms out to either sides of the body, palms up. And we'll take the knees over to the right hand side, the gaze towards the left. And you may want to help the knees down with the right hand. And yourself relax into the sensation of the body and twist. Lifting the knees up, and we'll take them over to the left, the same cross if you've got them crossed. And then arriving up to the centre line. If you have got the cross of the knees, then do it the opposite way. And we'll start with taking the knees over to the left. You can help them down with the left arm, left hand. Knees come back to the centre line. And if you've got the cross, keep the same cross as you take them over to the right. Then both knees up and uncrossing them. Arms come to the sides of the body. And we'll stretch out the legs in turn, and you're arriving into Shavasana. Now follow the line of the body up from the feet, along the spine and into the crown of the head. Letting the body find its own resting point, finding its own sense of balance. And yourself, resetting your intention, goodwill, flow of well-being towards yourself, body, mind. Whatever's going on within the body, the mind. Whatever you know lies in front of you. Whatever has happened behind you. And this next breath, like a fresh canvas. So excuse me. Allowing yourself to breathe it fully, be present in it fully. Enjoy it fully. Start to bring some movement into the body now. Gentle movement of fingers, toes, the head from side to side. And taking time, when you're ready to, if you bend knees and roll over onto one side of the body for a few breaths. And then arriving up and into sitting. Now take a comfortable seat. And as we started, once you're there, then again feeling that stacking of the vertebrae one by one up and into your crown. And there, allow your eyes to shut. Feeling your breath deep within you. Flow of consciousness within you, through you. To this flow outwards within your life, bringing hands to the heart and setting an intention to flow with well-being towards self. And to allow that to flow outwards into your day. Hands at the heart and bowing to self and each other. And we close our practice together. And eyes opening again when you're ready. Thank you very much.